Evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Erudition Network, the Erudition Network Interactive Black History and Knowledge session for this Thursday night. Sorry about the little bit of tardiness tonight, and sorry about a little bit of a ramping for our internet. We were having issues with the internet trying to get online tonight, and we seem to still be running into a little bit of problem. So please bear with us tonight as we go through this episode. We haven't really had these problems so much. So within the last 2 weeks, this hasn't been too bad, but today it seemed like it wanted to show its head again and kind of give us a little bit of error. So if we're freezing up a little bit on you, if we're broken up a little bit, I do apologize. Hopefully, as the hour goes on, it will start to clear itself up, and we will be able to have a more have a productive session tonight. If you have been following the program over the last couple of weeks, you notice that I've had my sons on for over the last few weeks. I have 4 sons, and I try to talk to them about the issues of Black fatherhood and sons. And we have had discussions with each one of them. Tonight, we will have a discussion with my youngest son. He will be joining us momentarily, and we will have a discussion with him in the same vein as I've had with his brothers over the last few weeks. The reason behind this program, and for me, is because I really believe that we have to understand the value of Black fathers and sons relationships in this world, in this country that we're dealing with. There's been so many things said about it that are wrong, so many things said by people who either are not parents themselves and kind of really don't understand really what it goes into in raising and a young man, and I particularly an African American young man in this environment, in this country. And so I definitely wanted to give some time to do this. Each one of us have this discussion and give this moment, and I think it is very significant for knowledge and for our history. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my youngest on, and we're going to start this conversation. If you join us later, please opine, leave a comment, and we will definitely respond to you even at a later date. All right, so I'm going to bring Matthew on. Matthew.
Hello, everyone.
Matthew is my youngest. So,
it's actually of us doing this. So.
Huh?
This marks a month of the series where you bring every single one of us. Well, not every single one of us, but yeah.
All your brothers on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been an interesting thing to do. But I think it is important. It seems like our internet cleared up a little bit too, which is good. I hope that it stays that way. But I guess my first question to you, can you hear me all right? All right. I guess my first question to you, um, and it's a kind of a difficult question for someone your age, but I think you can uh, answer it. I think you are more than qualified to answer it. My first question for you tonight, in the idea of black fathers and sons, is let's start first with the opposite. What do you think it in your opinion makes a good father?
Well, a good father, you have to first be a father figure, who is already or who is always there and supports the family. Secondly, he maybe somebody that stays at home and only goes to work when they really, 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 really have to. Ooh, and I don't really know. Oh, I don't know how to explain it. I do know how to explain a bad father or figure. Well, father. You're my good.
We'll get to that, but I really want to know what you. Okay, I'll give you an easier question. An easier question. Okay. First off,
Okay.
let's see who's in this comments. Let's see. Your brother is here. Um, yeah, it's been 4 weeks. It's been 4. Yes, I know I have 4 sons, Teddy. Thank you for doing the math.
Yeah. Happy to
Okay.
see you on.
Um. Oh, Dad. Hey, Dad. Good to see you. I'm glad you were here with us tonight. Um. Hope you enjoy what we're talking about tonight. Um. I got a better question for you. It's an easier one. What do you think it means to be a good son?
Well, to be a good son, the bare the most you can really do is help your mother or bring in house payments and to do a lot of things. Things like help clean up the house and help your mom or dad or both of which, because I'm not sure if you can, but you can and help of your parental guardian out and help them relax acts every once in a while. And also get good grades, don't get in trouble, and yeah, stuff like that.
So be a you so make sure that you do your chores, be a good kid. Well, if you had to lay it out, what do you think is the most important thing it means to be a good son?
The most important thing to be a good son, well, I think that would have to be caring for your parental guardian, and whether that be by your parents or uh, babysitter. So,
No, you answer well. I don't know why you're so nervous. It's just me. It's just your father.
yeah, I just don't want to get embarrassed on my television, or get this video taken down because I did add the fact that sometimes people have have mother and father.
No, I get it. I'm just saying, don't be nervous. These are very easy questions. Um, and these are the same questions. Similarly, I relax them a little bit. Um, for than for your brothers. Hey, let me ask you this question. All right. So I don't want to. We since our feed was acting so crazy, I may not put up the slide, but I will ask the questions based um on what I have. So um well maybe let's do it this way. Let's see if we can put it in a banner. You know what I'm saying? Because a banner or a brand or something will help us to do a good overlay, and then we can see it. We can do it that way.
Yeah.
Uh, but I want to ask you this question here. Um, First, we're going to go right down the line, okay? But I want you to remember none of these things are in themselves. Um, uh, um, no one is more important than the other. Okay, they're not. There's no hierarchy in it. We're just gonna go through them by the way I put them in here. Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about is supremacy. Supremacy, racism. How do you think at your age, and I know it's a lot to ask, you're not that young, you're getting old anyway. So I'm not going to treat you like you 5. But how do you how do you think racism plays into the relationship between a father, particularly black fathers and sons who have to deal with a lot? I mean, you watch the news, you've seen the media, and you know what's going on, and you are a very well informed young man. But how do you think white supremacy or racism plays into the relationship of a father and a son?
Well, it, it's based off of is the son white and is the
I'm
father.
speaking particularly of African American black fathers and sons.
All right. If I had to really think about it, then I would say it does play a big role
In what
in.
way?
I feel I like the father and son would bond in wrong ways by saying, "Oh, look at that person," and finally get what they deserve when that person didn't do anything.
So you think that that racism, that black fathers and sons look at they can look at other people and say, hey, look at them, and they could be racist.
Yes, and I also say the same can go with if white people and white fathers and sons
So
and
let me
mothers.
ask you. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you think that um, black fathers and sons have a conversation about race that probably very few other cultures have?
No, I don't really think that as much because you really have to think about it's only a majority of people that could be racist or grow up being taught to be racist.
Well, that's an interesting perspective, Matthew, because that's part of my one of the issues. So the this is from a list of things that I titled causes of failure in black fatherhood, and how we present it. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Black fathers, and let me know, tell me when you disagree with what I'm saying here. Black fathers have to have a discussion with their sons about how they act in public because they have. I want you to tell me your only response. I want you to tell me if it's true or false what I'm saying. Okay. So black fathers have to have a discussion with their sons about how they act in public because um, they can be harmed, hurt, or killed in public simply based on the fact that of racism.
True, this has been and found in the news.
Okay. Black fathers have to speak to their sons about how they interact with females, particularly white females
Yep.
or females of other cultures, because of how they could be perceived as aggressive to these females.
Yes, this is also true. We have seen this in the news as well.
Okay.
Oh,
Black fathers have to have discussions with their sons about even riding a bike out in the neighborhood, um, and and being close to home because people may assume that they're in the wrong neighborhood.
true. This has been found out in the news as well, where a Karen
Okay.
walks outside and complains about it.
Okay. And my last true or false. Black fathers, right, have to make sure that their sons understand that a no fault of their own, when they start to go out on their own, work a job, drive a car, or whatever, that people are going to see them as a threat.
Can you restate the question, please?
Well, it's not a question. I just want you to let me know if it's true or false. Black fathers, from your perspective, what you've seen, Black fathers have to tell their sons when they go out on their own, play dates, whatever, hanging out, even in the front of their home, driving a car, going to go work a job, whatever. They have to tell their sons to be mindful that there are people who are going to want to harm them simply because.
Of their skin color, and this is true.
So, having said all of those things, and you said all of those things are true, okay, and you've seen evidence of it in the media and in different places, how important do you think having a discussion as a father, Black father to a Black son, that it is to have a discussion about white supremacy and racism?
Well, I feel like it's pretty important.
But
And
earlier you just told me that you didn't think that everybody was racist. It's not saying that everybody is racist, but do you agree that there are racist people who will harm just based on the fact of some racist mentality?
yes, I do believe that there are some people like that, and that has been proven in a lot of times.
So we should have that discussion as a father and son. Would you agree?
Yes,
How early do you think that we should have that discussion with, like, how early do you think that I've had that discussion with you?
I feel I feel like you had it at least a day ago, and or more.
No, I'm not saying, I'm saying how young do you think you were when you first understood that there was a problem with racism that
Oh,
was explained to you by your mother or your father?
I feel like it started at, I believe, 6 or 5 when me and mom were watching the news. But if I had to get a real grasp on it, it would be 10 to current and age. Because yeah, that that is when I started
Was that
realizing.
shocking to you?
No, not at all.
Why wasn't it shocking?
I knew this world was a messed up place. It's when I remember being in my mom's stomach with a flat screen.
You knew the world was a messed up place already, huh?
Yep.
So race is, a lot of people don't like to talk about race. Some people say that we spend too much time talking about it, and some people say that we got to get over the idea of racism all the time. But let me ask you a question. Can you give me one pivotal situation? How old are you?
11.
Okay. So you're only 11 years old. Can you give me, you don't have to go into a full long explanation if you don't want to, but could you give me one situation in your life in your 11 years being on this world, just over a decade? Can you tell me any time or the time that was most traumatic to you that you know you dealt with someone being racist?
Well, that would be when I was first in the hospital when they tried putting sugar in my blood or something like that.
Yeah, that happened when you were a baby, but I'm saying that you were a baby then, that you yourself, not what you were told, not what we've told you, that you have experienced some person being racist against you or your family that you can say that you've experienced in your 11 years.
Oh, that one time I'm at Costco when that guy tried pulling out of the car when me, mom, were behind his car. That time.
When a man tried to run y'all down with a car.
Yep. Up that time.
So it's amazing, and it's something that needs to be talked about, that at 11 years old, you've only been in this world, believe it or not, Matt, this is a very short amount of time to be in this world. 10 or just over a decade, over 10 years, right? And I think you're wrong. I think you closer in your mental age to 12 But here's the reality though. In that 10 years, you have just told me that someone, not only were they racist against you, but
Exactly.
then they were murderously, because that could have resulted in death, right?
Yeah, because racism is a crime in its own, but murder is even worse. There's,
Murderously racist.
and there was another time when
Go ahead.
there was another time where uh, a white man driving past the Walmart, or not in our direction, luckily enough, just screamed, "How are you doing?" N words. And hey, at least he didn't try killing me. So it was still very wrong, but you gotta think when somebody is racist, they will. Well, most of racists, um, somebody will end up hurt in feelings or in real life, and depending on that, somebody could get killed. So I'm happy that at that one time, I'm he didn't try. Well,
Nobody tried to kill you or harm you severely,
yeah, they just tried to harm my emotional state, which
which
it
is
did.
bad in itself.
It did at the first time, but then I was like, hmm,
Well, let's explore that, right? Um, it's hard for me to hear that because I know your brother just said. I remember the situation when that happened. We were 6 years old. Me and your mother, hey baby, we try very hard. Ladies and gentlemen, that's very hard for me. I didn't know that my son dealt with that, and try not to get overtly emotional, but it is so painful.
I think he said he was doing.
No, I mean we talk about a lot, but there are things that happen that I don't always know. It's hard to think about someone calling my children or my wife and my children the N word, and my son realizing that he was happy. You just said to me that you were happy that they just kept driving
Yes,
and that they didn't stop to harm you all.
yeah, I'm happy that that happened because after seeing what happened to many the other people and what happened to me, yeah. But my mom did tell me a valuable lesson that day to not respond to people like that.
No, don't
Just,
respond.
yeah, because then they know, oh, you got them.
Or
Or
they can set you up to try to trap you.
yeah,
So I'm gonna tell you a situation that happened with your dad. I don't know if you know the situation. I had went to go and return a car when we had that huge storm here in Colorado a couple of years ago. And I went to go return the car, and I walked into an Enterprise car rental place just to basically go drop off the keys and stuff. And when I walked in, it was packed because a lot of people had rented cars or taken cars out because of the storm and the accidents that happened. Anyway, when I walked in, a white man, right, was walking out with his wife and his daughter. And as he walked past me, he very loudly said, "What are you looking at? N-word." Now, here's
I
the thing. Here's the thing. I could have responded. Part of me wanted to respond and chase him outside. I was very angry because everybody in the establishment heard him say this.
but if you respond, you'll you'll think you're aggro, and then you could lose your life.
Well, what happened was something told me not to go out the door, and I didn't. I just kind of brushed it off. It was hard to do. And I went, and of course, the people in there were like, they were apologizing. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I can't believe that he did that. And it's different things like that. But I later realized that you have what you just said, that you learned that you said that comes out of a very young mouth. They can set you up. Your mother told you don't follow that, because there have been people who have gone out and fought and been shot, killed, set up because someone wanted to do that. And I'm sorry that you have to deal with that at if Teddy was, like Teddy said, if you're dealing with that at 6 years old.
Yeah, I really didn't care about him because at the end of the day, it's a stranger. I'll never see him again. And if I do, guess what? I'll be at least in my 20s. Then I'll learn. Yeah, people that say the N word probably aren't having a good life currently because they're taking out their hatred on black people.
So that offers a whole nother thing that I want to talk about. And like I said, we're doing these things, and we're not going to go in any kind of particular order because they're not in any particular order. But that gives me another thing, another subject that I'd like us to talk about here. That's kind of in line with that. And sticking to this whole situation of people being bigoted and things like that. All right, so we'll put this up here. Bad teachers and discouraging mentors. How do you think bad teachers, you don't have to be specific with calling out any teacher, but bad teachers or people who mentor you, how do you think that affects your relationship? And let's open this with your father and your mother.
Hold on. So, can you describe what you mean by bad teacher?
I would say, well, people who like to discourage you. I'll give you an example. If you have a teacher who says that Matthew has not done his work, Matthew cannot do this, and Matthew, you know for a fact that none of this is true, but the teacher or the mentor reports to your parents something negative. Has that ever happened to you?
I don't think so.
So
Either
you think everything that your teachers have said has been truthful to the point?
no. I think if they have, they probably send it to only either parent and then not the child.
But do you think that you've gotten in trouble? Ooh, you got me yarning. Do you think that you've gotten in trouble for things that maybe you have not done?
No, I don't think so.
You are the only child that I know that basically is saying, "Stop yarning," because you got me yarning.
I guess not. God.
You the only child that I have that will tell me, "No, Dad, the teacher's absolutely right when I don't do something that I was supposed to do." That's what you're telling me?
No, I'm saying, and sometimes they do not lie, but sometimes they kind of say and avoid something like I made an email once, and it took them at least 2 days to respond to it, and which is not good.
Have you ever had a teacher that made you feel like something was wrong with you?
No, I do not think so.
Have you ever had it? Go
Actually,
ahead.
actually, never mind. There was one teacher that explained stuff in grave detail, but we already knew it, and then she didn't have to explain it. And she did mess up one part, or in a history assignment. And but besides from that, no, no
So
other.
you've been blessed to have teachers who really, and that's a good thing. I'm not saying that you should have bad teachers. You've been blessed to have teachers who actually are supportive and helpful. That's what you're telling me.
Yes,
Okay.
because especially my math teacher for this year. I'm
That's good.
yeah, I'm doing eighth grade in math, even though I'm not in that grade yet.
Yeah, I know you're doing advanced math, which is good, which is absolutely good. So,
Yeah, and
but let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen any of your brothers go through that situation like that?
yes, definitely. I can say this without any doubt. Either it was Papa or Teddy that said at this, as they said they had bad experience in brick and mortar school, and also had bad experience in online school.
So, do you think that your brothers informing you, because brothers can be mentors, right? Do you think that your brothers informing you of those things that they faced prepares you in a better way to deal with them if they should happen?
Yes, 100%. Actually, I thought that would happen in sixth grade and fifth grade. I thought that would have happened in those grades, and I was like, who is going to do it?
You was trying to mark a teacher out to find out who was going to try to screw you over.
Yep.
What's
I was
wrong with you?
like, uh,
Uh, Get some of these comments. We pray a lot and overlook a lot of ignorant behavior in people. God fills the gaps. I do agree.
yeah.
Oh my God, it's Sean Anthony saying, yo.
I love the outdated picture.
Yes, because that is not, yeah. But, but, so people don't like when I say this, but you are the baby, right? You are the youngest. And so, do you think that some of these things that you see, um, you have the benefit of having a mother and father, but you also have three older brothers who help to inform you and keep you, even sometimes when you don't want them to, um, grounded, informed, right? So let me ask you another question. When it comes down to socialization, do you understand what I mean by socialization? Talking to people and interacting with people and things like that. Do you think that you have good socialization with
No,
your parents? What?
I
With your
mean,
parents?
oh yes, but with other people, well, I do struggle because I am socially awkward.
What do
Yes,
you mean you're socially awkward?
I I do try to talk to cashiers whenever we go to the store to say, hey, hi, and tell a joke so I can build up my courage. But most of the time, socially awkward.
Being kind is not socially awkward. And don't you ever assume that.
No,
If you're being kind and you're being inclusive to people, there's never anything wrong with that. Now, we may look at you like you crazy going, what are you talking about? But what I have noticed is that usually you will generate a smile from these people, and that's fine. That's fine. When you say you're socially awkward, do you? I'm gonna give you an example of what socially awkward really is. Socially awkward people, most of the time, don't talk to people. Most
yeah,
of the time, they don't know how to operate around others. You don't have that problem. Mind you, you're in a house full of people. You have your brothers, you have your parents.
yeah.
I've never seen my children, including you, wince away from telling somebody something positive.
Well, what I mean by when I say I'm socially awkward, I mean, I'm not. I just don't talk to that many people, and when I try to, words get caught in my throat, and I'm like, what if they don't like that?
You worried about what they like. That's fine. That's your age. That's what you're supposed. That's who you are at 11 and 12 years old. That's what's going to happen. That's going to happen all the way up until you probably an adult. And even some adults still struggle with that.
Yeah,
Let me
I'm
ask you
not
a question. How many people do you see your dad talk to all the time?
at least one or two people every day, and at most five people.
But you don't see me running people down, going, "Hey, let me tell you this joke right here. Let me tell you what's going on." I'm not it's nothing wrong with being an introvert and trying to figure out who you are. And for any introvert that's out there that watches this, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel because here's what happens with an introvert. You will say something, you'll get involved with something, you'll teach something, you'll be doing something. Like I do this program every Thursday. And at the end of every Thursday, I'm exhausted because I don't talk all the time like that. I'm not doing all of that. And I'm not that kind of extroverted person. So it drains me. Now, if you feel a little awkward when you're talking to people because you're like, man, I had a conversation. Now I just want to go lay down. Now I just want to be alone. Now I want to go in my room, play a video game. Now I want to go read a book. I want to go play with a toy. I just don't want to be bothered. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm glad that you said that because I do believe that that's a thing that a father and a mother, a parent should be expressing to their child.
All right, but we should get in these comments before they pile up.
There's no comments. Last we had was Yo from Sean Anthony.
Uh, Actually, there is. Should I
There's
put it?
one that Teddy just generated right now, and it's kind of freezing. I don't know why it's freezing. Sean Anthony says, "Yeah, you always have us around," which sounds weird.
Oh wait, it was a mysterious smoke.
Teddy said the conversation can sometimes get cringy, but you do engage. Socially awkward was me in the first grade. Y'all not socially awkward. And y'all need to stop telling yourselves that. You're introverted, but that's not necessarily socially awkward. I see you talk to one person all the time, Dad, and that's mother. At least I hope. Oh my God.
Yeah, so it would be 6 or 7. But what I mostly mean is I wasn't able to talk to people as freely, and then I was like, who cares if they like me? I'm online. They are gonna talk to me, and then I just as convinced myself that and began talking to them. I did this once, and I actually was able to talk to them pretty easily, mainly because we watched the same show, but.
Yeah, you all talk to people online all the time and y'all screaming and hollering in your room. So apparently it ain't that bad. It ain't like you completely, utterly unapproachable and don't know how to talk to anybody. I don't know what's all that about, but um I will say this. Let's go to another one. Socialization, I think, eh, I I think you all do well. It's my opinion. You're my children, but I think you do well. You speak with elders, older people, and people in your own peer group, and you don't seem to have problems in interacting with them. Um, your mother said socially awkward is defined differently. Do you, oh my God, you shouldn't be typing anything while you driving, woman. You have a son that's in a car right next to you.
Oh yeah.
Socially awkward is defined differently. Here's the thing about socially awkward people. If you were really socially awkward, you would know, right? I think that it's a term that we use way too often, and we've put it in our lexicon in our general public, right? Because we've told people that it means one thing when it really means another. But if I had to define socially awkward, right? Those are people who can't talk, who are really self-conscious, unable to really engage, right? And they don't notice certain things. Now, here's the thing. Matthew, when you're talking to somebody, even online, I think kids nowadays are a lot better at, in some ways, than we were with our interpersonal conversation. Matthew, when you're playing games with people online, can you pretty much read what it means when somebody's screaming at the top of their lungs while you're talking online?
Yes, but when their microphone goes, it cuts out at random points. No, no.
Here's the thing. Can you tell when you're talking to somebody that they want to talk to you? I'm talking about not even in your home. They're just online. Can you tell they want to talk to you by their voice, or that they really just, you're annoying them?
I feel like I should say yes because I have been talking to friends, and yeah, sometimes I can get that hint. And I also want to say no because sometimes, but I've been around some toxic friends.
Okay, and you're gonna have toxic people, but you could even realize that somebody's being toxic by, how do you tell someone's being toxic?
When they basically, what can I put it in a sentence?
I don't care.
Okay, so basically, let's say Jim E walks up to a random person. They've known this person for 2 or 3 years, and that person starts saying, "You look bad. You're ugly." And then that other friend, and then another friend comes along and says, "Oh, don't listen to him," and starts
So that
covering you.
that brings up a whole nother issue right there, Matthew.
I
That
wasn't
brings
even,
up. Go ahead.
so that friend is just telling that, well, Jimmy, that and he's telling him all that just to make him feel better. Or so when he asked him for a favor, he was able to say, hey, can I get a favor? Oh yeah, yeah, you did comfort me in my time of need, and then and it's something terrible. Oh, and yeah,
Now,
basically,
you've experienced stuff like this with people who you haven't even met physically, right?
no. I, I've given a scenario,
Just a
but I have,
scenario.
yeah, but I have dealt with that at one point, but
Okay.
will not be discussed about because I could get exiled from a friend group for talking about out that
Okay.
outside of
So that right there is, hold on. So you feel, and that's another thing with
no,
kids,
that's
especially people your age. Let's talk about that. How does peer pressure? What does peer pressure mean to you?
if I had to explain it, it would basically be in the World Star art days where somebody would say, "Oh, do this," and then a crowd would go, "Hey, you done it!"
Well, that's more groupthink. Peer pressure, by definition, is when people your own age are either physically, emotionally, um, intellectually forcing you. That's what pressure means, or pushing you to do something that more than often is wrong.
No, they're not. They're not doing that in any sort of way. I'm just saying, it's more of a
You don't
neutral.
think that peer pressure happens with you?
No, no, because when I mentioned in a group, if I was talking, I was basically saying, in, basically about a meme, in where, or if a group chat gets leaked, everybody's not making it to heaven.
So let me ask
It's
you a question.
a funny thing.
Your brother gets a game. He's on a game. Steam, right? Stream or whatever y'all call that thing y'all play. So your brother's on there, and a bunch of boys that y'all play with, they all get a brand new game, right? It don't have to be an expensive game. And then they say, "Hey, you know what? We need one more person." Now, here's the thing. You look at the game and realize, I don't even like this game. This is not what I want to play, right? But because they tell you, "No, Matthew, you really need to play. You should get this game." Matthew, I tell you what, I'll even buy the game or put points or things for you to play the game. And then you say, oh, cool, okay. Well, as long as I ain't got to get it, I'll play. Do
Yeah,
you see that? Do you see that as peer pressure?
no, because here's the thing. A friend did do that, and I did enjoy the game, and because yeah, it was a good game. So no,
Yeah.
I experience
Okay.
it.
So here's the thing. Let me give you an example because this is a really good conversation for a father and son. Let me tell you something. I had a friend when I was young, right? Who, man, we would go places, hang out after school, and he would say, "Hey, man, you want some chips or something, Eddie?" I'd be like, "Yeah, man. I take some chips." So he buy me a soda and some chips, and blah 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 blah. And we became really good friends, right? And then one day, uh, he asked me, "Hey, man, can you go to the north side with me?" I said, "Okay, right," because that's my friend, right? He's been there, he's been hanging around. So we go to the north side, and he walks up and he's standing on the corner and we're chilling. And he waits on this kid to show
Okay.
up, right? That he wants to jump. Now I realize that he's got me here as a person to support him or back him up if somebody else jumps in to defend this kid that he wants to beat up, right? Now I feel the pressure. Why do I feel pressure to do that and be there for him?
Because you're his friend, and personally, he, if that falls right in line on with when a mother asks you if your friend and said jump off a cliff, would you do it too?
No, look. You feel obligated.
Yeah,
When you feel obligated, hey man, I bought you a game. I bought you some soda, man. I kept
yeah,
being there for you, man. I
yeah.
was your homie.
No,
Now
I
it's
would.
easy for us to say no, right? But I want you to be aware that all peer pressure, all things like that, don't just happen because somebody walked up and said, Matthew, smoke this cigarette,
No.
right? And we can say no to those things now, right? But peer pressure even gets even worse as you get older. When your friend says, I was talking to your brother about this, when your friend says, hey man, I gotta go out and there's a girl that I want to see, but her friend is kind of not attractive. But I need you to be my wingman, my homie, and I want you to take her out. Or just hang with her.
All right, I really do want to answer that, but first, is I gotta get this question done before there's any misunderstandings. So let me pull it up.
What are you talking about?
This question, or this comment. No, I was
I don't
refer I was referring to a joke that was us resurfacing on
I
the
have
internet.
no idea what your mother's talking about. None of you will make it to heaven. What? What you
Remember when I was talking about the group chat? That's when that's what I was talking about. But I was just talking about a meme that was resurfacing on the internet. So that's that's what I meant. Do not
Your
take it.
brother said there are good forms of peer pressure. I think he meant peer pressure and bad. Psychologist Albert Bandura has stated this. Yes, I do know that there are positive peer pressures that are always pressure is coming in multiple different ways, but majority of the pressure that you feel early is a lot of times not necessarily positive pressure, but you still do conform to peer pressure, thus establishing a peer group. Yeah, I'm not sure about about that, Matt. It says I remember a time y'all asked for a game so you could play with your friends, even though we all looked at the game and said it's not as interesting as it looked. And
That was
again, this goes along with the fact of having brothers who can also police different things and have this understanding with you to be like, no, man, that's not what it is that we want to do, right? Because those things are important, man. Having those things. So, Manny, I want to talk about some positive things, right?
oh,
It's been
yeah.
on about an hour. So let me ask you a question. The same question I asked your brothers. How important is spirituality?
Very important. Very, very.
Why would you say that spirituality is very important? And I mean, how important is spirituality in dealing with your parents?
Okay, can I get it? Can you explain it? Because I was
Is it
thinking about.
important that your parents teach you spirituality, the love of God?
Oh yes, very important. And actually, I do have many friends that believe in God, which
Okay.
is well, all of my friends believe in God. Not many, all.
Okay. But when it comes down to parents, how do you think that it's important that you see your parents are spiritual people?
It,
Your father, your mother. Oh, excuse me.
it's important and for them to teach you that because as a lot of times things are not in your hands and it's not in any fate. It's not in fate's hand, and it's in God's hands. So being able to see that your parents aren't the one in control of your life, God is. It's very important, and
Okay.
your parents teaching you that is also very important.
I completely agree, right? I think that spirituality, and I say spirituality more so than religion, because religion establishes that it has to be some church or whatever. But spirituality is a more of a possessive, personal thing, right? Your your ability to pray to God, your ability to go to God, your ability to see that if my mother and father can pray to God when they don't know what else to do, then that can teach me, right, to do the same thing, because it really comes down to giving reverence to God and saying, I can't do this, without you, right? This is not about me. And so I wanted to, you answered that perfectly. You answered that better than even I think any of your brothers answered that, right? Because you need to know that you can't handle or do everything. Let's talk about something else here.
But first, if I feel like we should,
What?
I feel like we should use the PayPal, Cash App, uh, because because it would help get better equipment.
Are you talking about the banner?
Yeah, yeah, better cameras too, better Wi-Fi, everything.
Okay, there's your banner. I forget to put the banner on, but I did put it on. All right. Does that make you feel better that there's a banner down there now?
Yes, as I actually do tell, I tell everybody, I tell them every time I put the banner up there, so they at least can donate, even if I don't tell them, which has happened.
We're not going to make this episode as long, because what I want to do next week is I'm going to have all of you all on, and we're going to talk about a different part of this. I wanted to get your perspectives over the last couple of weeks, but we're going to talk about a different part of this. And I'm basically going to do a that means you all will be on 2 days, because you guys are on Wednesday too, but you'll be on Thursday and we'll discuss this, or nah, let's do it on Thursday. Let's keep it. Or we'll figure it out. We could do it on Wednesday, if that's what your brothers want to do. But they may already have a subject or topic that they want to talk about on you guys'
Yeah,
generation show. So if not, we'll just conform it to next Thursday, and that'll be fine. Put you all on.
but hopefully all of you who are viewing will be able to see my glorious afro once again when I get it on when I get this ungraded.
Did you just push an Afro hair product on the show?
No,
Yeah,
but also yes.
you are such a cute kid. But no, I really this has been a really good episode. You actually, because here's the thing, it's different levels, right? I got two adult sons. I got two sons who are just at the cusp of being adults. So you got a couple more years, but um, it's important that we have these discussions. Um, and I really wanted to do that over the last few weeks, and I am very happy that you all, even though I'm a little different. Before we get off, let's talk about let's say this. What do you think is the difference between a father and a mother and how they deal with a son?
Well, you have told me the difference. It's because the
Now, what do
mother.
you think? Not what I think. What do you think?
Well, the difference is one is female and one is male. But since I don't want to get canceled,
I hope so. But go
yeah,
ahead.
yes. Sometimes the parent could change their gender, or I'm saying this for YouTube so they don't cancel me.
Yeah, but we're not
But
talking about gender change. We're talking about what is the difference in how a mother and father deal with their son.
the difference is one one is meant to tell you how you're meant to be, how how strong you have to be how smart you have to be, and the other is basically telling you prepare for the real world, get a girlfriend, make make me creative.
Make me grandkids. I have never heard me nor your mother tell you prepare for the world and make me grandkids.
uh, uh, but that's what I think. What could go on, and think I have heard at least once, or that could have been a dream. Mom walk in Teddy's room and say that. But all jokes aside, I do feel like the father is supposed to tell you how to be a man, and then the mother is supposed to tell you how to be respectful of women and also be a better man and how to treat women and all that.
That's a good perspective. That's a good perspective. I think that's a truthful perspective. Um, I would add that um, my interaction. Let's talk about like my interaction today. Right? We were getting ready to do the show today. What did I tell you to do?
You told me to get dressed, let's get ready, be at the sleep, eat by 4, well, no, not 4, 5.
But I
I
gave you some regimented things that this is what you need to be doing right now. Get these things done. Did I come back and try to? Your mother's not really like that either, so I can't say all women are like this. But did I come back and rub your hair and said, Matthew, make sure you're here 4:45 or be here at 5 o'clock? Or did I
yeah,
say, Matthew, your behind better be where it need to be when I get where I'm going to go get, right? So I will say, in my perspective, fathers tend to be um, more to the point because we have to be. And I think you did kind of say that. We have to be. This is what you need to do to be an effective man. Because if you're not time managing, if you're not doing things right, if you playing games all the time and you're not paying attention, bad things can happen. This goes into what we were talking about earlier at the beginning of the episode, where we have to inform you of things early so that you understand these things and they do not become stumbling blocks for you. Mothers do the same thing. Don't get me twisted, but it's been my experience that mothers tend to be also more um, accepting on certain things that you do. Because see, mothers aren't necessarily aware of how men interact. Men in the world don't necessarily be like, hey bruh, I love you, man, I really wish you go and get this done, man, come on, man, I come let me we don't really often act like that. We gonna tell you, man, get over there and sweep that floor, man, we got work to do. And dude, you keeping us here all day. Hey man, would you go and do what you need to do? Hey, that's kind of how we talk. Is that how
yeah.
your brothers talk to you?
Mm, most of the well, not most of the time, but sometimes. But before we end off the show, I do have to say, a
Say what?
make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below. Even
Oh
if
boy,
the
I thought you was finna say something crazy. I thought you was about to say something completely off the chain. Like what I really want to say is that I want to punch them in the face. I'm like, oh wow. I don't think you really want to say that. And throw the gauntlet down with your brothers to be ready to fight. You know,
follow our follow our TikTok, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter, which is now called X. I'm kind of mad about that.
I'm not really even on. We're on Twitter, but I don't know how long we'll stay on Twitter
Yeah,
because it's kind of gotten crazy.
but make sure you follow our Twitch so we can go live on there. We do plan on doing that. And without further
I think we're
ado,
on Twitch. Yeah.
yeah, we are on Twitch, which I can see from the top corner.
Well, we ain't got any more comments, and we've done an hour. I've been trying to do this for an hour and a half. We're gonna make it shorter tonight because I got some things I got to do. But at the same time, it's because I'm gonna have you guys on one last time next week with all of y'all. So that way it'll make it a lot easier to discuss some of the things I want to further discuss with you all. But I have enjoyed this hour. It's been fun, and I especially because I was actually tired. I didn't look it, but I was actually very tired. But I love you, and I really do appreciate that you came on here with Dad today. And I do appreciate you telling people to like and subscribe. Get on YouTube and subscribe. We really do need the help and the support, and it definitely helps us out.
Oh,
But if you got anything else, last thing to say, go ahead, because we're going to get ready to get on out of here.
hopefully next month or next year we can get to 100K subscribers and be able to do everything we hope to do. Wait, is that a meme? Wait, is that
Your
a
brother
meme?
said,
On it?
your brother said, challenge accepted, Matthew.
Oh God. I'm
Then
happy.
he and then he said, it's not showing it, but then he said, see you on the mat.
Well, it looks like
Hey, man, it seems like you are the one that pushed the gamut. All right, baby boy. We're gonna get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, we were a little freezing right there, but ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get on out of here. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I know that my screen seems to be a little frozen. I look like I'm getting ready to fall out of the chair. But we're going to let you all go, and we're going to move on out of here. And we hope to see you, God willing, next week. Please join the Erudition Network Interactive Black History and Knowledge group on Facebook. You will get interesting posts and things on that site. And as always, share the program and encourage folks to come and talk about this history.
well, I'll see you next week, and I gotta go to prepare for this fight.
Oh my God.